All right, everybody, welcome to our webinar today. Hopefully you had a chance to connect in with us. We've got some really cool things we're talking about. Really cool stuff. Excited to have you with us. I'm going to close this backstage here. Type in the chat one if you don't mind where you're joining us from. And we are going to go. We went through last week. We went through the last segment of marketing objectives, which was conversion. And we want to talk more today about what is the pixel, how does it work, what are custom codes, what are standard event codes, and why would you ever need a Facebook pixel in your business, why you would ever want to track anything in your business. So today, Carrie's from Illinois, good to have you. Let's get started. First and foremost, let me give you a quick overview, and Mitch, you can chime in here anytime you want, of what is a pixel. And we talked a little bit about this last week, but a pixel is a code. Mitch, if you want to click on that view code, we can pull it up. A pixel is basically a code that gives you the ability to embed it on your website so it tracks. You can see here's HTML coding, and typically your code is placed in the header section of your website. So you can just copy this specific, this is what they call a standard event code. You'll see right in the middle of it, there's an FBQ, and then it has apostrophes, and it says track, and then it says apostrophe page view. This specific code is set up more or less for you to gain a better understanding of who's actually watching the content that you're presenting, who's actually paying attention to your website, and are they coming to your website? And once they get to your website, what are they doing on your website? But this specific code is just basically a view code. So, Mitch, why don't you pull up a website and show people how that works based on using a Facebook Pixel Finder. There's a Chrome extension called the Facebook Pixel Helper. And inside of that Facebook Pixel Helper, you'll be able to see and identify whether or not a Facebook pixel is placed on the websites that you're at. Now, why would you want to know that? Well, because then you'll know whether or not the companies that are connected that you're reading through, or the websites that you're viewing, are actually tracking more and more. So, Mitch, why don't you go ahead and open that up here?
Switch screens.
Kendall, what's happening? Hey, Dave. Good to have you guys with us. Laurie, nice to have you. Tom, welcome, my friend.
Can you see the North Star page now?
Yes. So you'll see up here in the top right-hand corner in a Google Chrome window, there's this little blue box, and there's a little 2 by it. So if you click on that Pixel Code Helper or Facebook Pixel Finder, go ahead and click on that, Mitch. You'll see it brings up. I can't see it popping up, no. Probably have to just hold on it. Anyway, if you click on that, it'll show you the Facebook pixels specifically that are correlated to that page. It'll show you what type of Facebook pixels are being tracked, or what type of tracking mechanisms are being found on that page. So it's kind of just a good way to give you a better idea of, is it working? And you can even pull up the Tuesday tips and tricks, Mitch, and there's probably 4 or 5 on that.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody on here, if they're on Chrome, then they could add that Pixel Helper to their Chrome browser. And right here on Demio, the system that we're using, then they're using, they have 4.
Yep.
That are going.
Yep, they have a subscribe button, they have a page views, a micro data, and a subscribe button click. So they actually have 2 of the same codes on here. And what's interesting is you don't typically have, most people don't really know what's happening. They don't know they're being tracked or they're being traced, and I didn't really know that either until I really found out some insights into this. So a pixel code, more or less, is a tracking mechanism that follows you wherever you go on social media or online, on the web. And why is that important? Well, from a Facebook advertising perspective, you can utilize that Facebook pixel to or Facebook in general pulls a lot of data from the Facebook pixel from a target audience perspective. So when you go and you say, I want to target people based on buying behaviors, or just based on behaviors in general, they're utilizing the same tracking mechanisms across millions of websites to compile that data so that they can give you the best results. Kind of crazy. Okay, so
another important reason to use it, just real quick, is I mean, everybody knows in marketing and sales that it takes multiple touch points depending on your product or service and depending on the pricing. Then it's going to take multiple touch points before people are actually going to buy. And so by using the Facebook Pixel and tracking those people that hit your website is a pretty meaningful touch point oftentimes, because they can read about you, they can look at pictures of your business, they can learn about your product and service on your website. So that's a very meaningful interaction. And then you retarget them with ads, and then that's another touch point back on Facebook where they spend a lot of their time, or on Instagram.
That's right. And what's interesting is just recently we've had the chance to, Facebook has come out with a whole new metric of analytics. And inside of that analytics, it gives you even more depth on the traffic that's happening on your website based on the pixel that's placed there. So you can put, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, you can put pixels on every single one of your pages. You can also place a pixel across the whole website, so you can track just general data that's coming across multiple pages.
Yep.
But there's value, obviously, in creating different types of custom pixels if you're talking about e-commerce. If you're talking about buying and clicking a button, adding it to your cart. There's what they call cart abandon. Advertising, meaning people actually came to your cart, they added something into their cart, and then they left. How do you capitalize on that? Well, there's some placing a pixel on your cart gives you the ability to remarket to those people. And remarketing is, again, like Mitch said, it's just the ability to get in front of individuals again and again and again in a way that's authentic to them on a platform that they're used to being on. Sometimes you'll see that. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, speaking of cart abandonment, then we've just recently added that to one of our clients' accounts. And, that picked up an extra, I don't know what it's up to now, but an extra several $100. I mean, it might be over $1,000 by now in additional revenue just by spending an additional, I don't know, $50 or $60.
Yeah.
I mean, we're making 4 times more than we're spending on that additional little ad set. And
that's right.
It's some additional work, but very much worth the time there.
Well, and imagine being able to capitalize on those people, especially if you have a high ticket item. Let's say it's $1,000 or a $2,000 price point. In combination, an email drip campaign sequence, what we call a soap opera sequence, in combination with remarketing ads on Facebook, just give you additional touch points. As a matter of fact, and I think I shared this with you a couple weeks ago, this summer my kids really got into softball and baseball, and so I wanted to buy a hitting net, something that we could practice with. I could work on their swing and show them some of the fundamental mechanics, the things that I learned playing college baseball and whatnot. And I went in probably in early February and placed this hitting net into my cart. And I wanted to buy it. I didn't really want to buy it. Just kind of one of those things that I was like, I guess I'll get it. And it literally was probably 10 or 15 different touch points of Facebook advertising that had led me to, I placed it in my cart, and it was an abandoned cart that happened probably over a few months that really finally said, there was one day that I was like, okay, yeah, season started. We need to work on it. And so I added it to the cart and I bought it. And had I not seen those multiple touch points, I probably subconsciously may not have gone back to something that I went to in February. But this is remember, it's just something to keep in front of people in general, the product or the service that they're looking for. And by utilizing a standard event code gives you the tracking mechanisms of all the activities happening on your page. But then when you go into specific, what we call custom codes or event codes, custom event codes, that you can actually utilize those for specific things that are happening on pages. Interestingly enough, there's this little thing right down here below that says use advanced matching. Mitch, if you highlight over the little I, it shows you that it'll improve the quality to match site visitors to people on Facebook by passing additional site visitor information, such as email address and phone numbers. So if you're trying to if you turn that on, if you want like a specific area code or specific things, then you'll see inside of page views, you can have an email variable specifically in this one, according to that code. So anyway, just some additional ideas. Let's go in, Mitch, and let's show them. Let's walk through. You can turn the advanced matching off, and let's just show them really quickly, how do you install this onto a web page. And you're welcome to bring up the Strategic Social Partners web page if you have the username login access, and you can just give them an idea of how that works.
So you just have to click, and it'll copy it to your clipboard, and then you'll open up your website. This is a WordPress site that we're showing right now. I mean, maybe if we have time, then we will be able to show like ClickFunnels. There's another one. ClickFunnels is easier than WordPress.
Yeah, that's true.
But the easiest way to do it on a WordPress site is to get a plugin. You have a plugin on here, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Where is it? Which one is it?
I used to have one on there. Maybe I got rid of it. Click on plugins and go into it.
Let's see there. Facebook Conversion Pixel. So where is it? Oh, here it is. This, oh man, I clicked on something wrong. On this specific plugin that's called Facebook Conversion Pixel, you can just search that and install it to your WordPress site, and it shows up under settings. Now you come here and you say enable Facebook Conversion Pixel field on these post types. So this would be like a blog post, a page. Basically, you're going to want to have it on every type of page, because especially this general pixel code, you want to have it on every page no matter what's happening, because then even if you're not going to use it right away, you can use it later. So save changes there. And then where, I haven't used this specific plugin, where do you put in the code?
It shows up on each page. So if you go into a post, for instance, and just go into add a new post. Then you scroll all the way down to the very bottom of it, and there'll be a place to put the pixel. Right there. Yep.
Okay.
So you basically take and you copy and paste that code, and then you select the button, and then all of a sudden on this page now you have the Facebook pixel that's associated with that page.
And now it's going to track when people come to this new blog post that we made, then it's going to track that and put it back into.
So why don't you call it? Why don't you just call it a test page up at the top? So put test pixel, test post pixel or whatever, and then publish it. We can always delete it. Just publish that page and then show people how to get to that page. So now that it's posted, open up the window, and then you'll see, you'll probably have to go back to a Chrome browser though.
Yeah. Let me change.
Share a different screen.
What screen I'm sharing.
Now, again, the purpose behind this, guys, is it gives you the ability to have just to have a great connection, a great conversation, or a tracking mechanism, if you will, behind it. So, yep. So here's the page. It's just the test pixel page. You'll see up in the top right corner where the Facebook pixel is. Now it's showing that it's green. Now sometimes it'll show up orange or yellow or red. If it shows up orange or red, that means there's something wrong with the pixel, and you have to be super careful with that. But if it's showing green, that means that the pixel is actually firing.
And then it's really powerful because if, let's say that blog post, if we wrote a post about specifically about Facebook ads, and we had a series of blog posts about Facebook advertising, then we could specifically remarket to those people that we know at that point are interested in Facebook ads because they've read one of our blog posts about it. And you can break it, you can segment it down really as much as you want to. On basic websites, if you don't have a lot of website traffic, then you can keep it pretty simple. But you can always add complexity later.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes when you're running Facebook ads, you might, instead of running them directly to a call to action, we've used strategies in the past where you utilize a Facebook ad set to drive them to a blog post to increase the value that you're offering to them. And then inside of that blog post, you have the link to the actual product that they're purchasing. As a matter of fact, that's a strategy that I see quite often a lot of different businesses using, because it's taking them through the sales funnel where they go awareness, like we've talked in the past, to education, which would be a blog post. Inside of that blog post, you could have some validation and testimonials or social proof. And then from there, you can go to the purchasing behavior or the acquisition phase by a link click to another purchase page or add to cart or things of that nature directly from that page. So kind of cool. Okay, so that's
Tori asked a question. Is it possible to add this pixel to other platforms or only websites? So good question. It can only be added to websites, but your other question of can it be placed into an Instagram or a Facebook page? It cannot. However, there's other data. You can still capture the stuff from your Facebook page. So for instance, if people are engaging on your Facebook posts, then you can capture that as a separate audience. And so what we'll often do is we'll run that remarketing ad that we've mentioned several times back to that purchase. We'll say people that engaged with our page in the last few days, people that hit our website in the last few days, and people that watched 50% of our video in the last few days. And so now you're capturing all of those. And they actually also just added that you can capture that engagement on Instagram. So you can say the people that interacted with my Instagram page in the last few days.
Yep. Yeah, it's very powerful. Facebook more or less has that mechanism built in automatically with all the insights that you can capture from the page itself. Like Mitch said, engagements, reach, organic reach. The tricky part about the pixel, and I think you guys need to make sure you understand this, the tricky part about the Facebook pixel is it doesn't track individuals by name, meaning it doesn't say, oh, John followed your page, but it does track them based on their activity. So it doesn't give you a list of all the people that came to your website. It just gives you a number.
Yeah, you can see like in the last 7 days, this pixel has had 318 fires. And so that's what it shows you. It doesn't name those 318 people. And then it shows you, you know, some people purchased, some people viewed content. A lot of people just viewed a page.
And that's where the analytics section inside of Facebook now is kind of like Google Analytics, where it most likely will even track, and we'll have to look at this in more detail, but track like bounce rates or time on site, time on page, things like that. But if you don't have that set up through Facebook, you can always track that information directly through your Google Analytics that's been established on your page. So Mitch, one question people might ask is what's a pixel fire? Give us a quick rundown of what a pixel fire is.
So that's if people hit a page. So it's not 318 unique people. It's 318 actions. So let's say, you navigated to the Strategic Social Partners homepage, and then you went over to the blog page, and then you went into a specific post. That would be 3 pixel fires. But it would show, and then, it's kind of percentages. Everybody that hits the home page, that's on a website, that's kind of a cold audience. But if they go to another page deep, then that's a warmer audience. And so if you have enough website traffic, then you can say, I only want to target the people that actually make it to the blog page. I don't care about the people that just hit the home page because they're just window shoppers. I don't know. You'll have to decide for your specific business, but that's what a pixel fire is.
Yep, that's exactly right. And as you can see here, it tracks them in a couple different ways. It tracks the pixel event. It also tracks the URLs or the website locations that they actually visit. It'll track a lot of different domains depending on how many different domains you have. And then it'll also track like the devices in and of themselves. What device did people search for it from? And why is this important? Well, because this will tell you from a mobile perspective whether or not you need to have your website mobilized and have it mobile friendly so that people can have a good, unique user viewing experience.
And you can also, you can get some additional insights. I don't know the significance of this, but apparently, the top 2 devices, except for desktop, are Apple products. So for some reason, people that come to the websites that our Pixel is on currently, more of them use Apple products. So you can start marketing specifically to those people. Even though it's unrelevant to our business, you can still market that way, or maybe make specific ads for Apple users that kind of ties into some of their interests, because you can learn a lot from the marketing that Apple does for those types of characteristics. And then you can separate out, and let's do separate ads for Android.
Yep. It gives you more mechanisms for split testing. Okay, so let's go back. So Mitch, we talked a little bit about the basic code. Now let's talk about some custom event codes.
All right. So that's the first step. Put that on your entire website. And like we said earlier, even if you don't think you're going to use it right now, I would still do that. There's clients that we've picked up that they didn't use their Pixel at all, but because it was placed, then we are able to come in and do a lot better at the beginning. But then the standard event codes. So you have these certain types of events like search or view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, lead. Maybe we could show the example of a lead. Mm-hmm. This can be placed on a page where you will have captured a lead. And why is that significant? Because if you let Facebook know when people visit this page, this constitutes that they're a lead. And this lead is an action that I care about. So, leads are important in business, obviously, because those will often lead to sales. So if you tell Facebook, I like these leads are important to me, then Facebook can start collecting. Let's say you have 100 leads through this Facebook pixel. Then Facebook can start saying, okay, I know some more information about these leads, the types of people that convert into a lead. They have these common characteristics across these 100 people. Now I can find more of those people to make these ads more effective. And over time, then your cost per lead can start coming down oftentimes.
Well, and the other cool thing about this is it gives you even more detailed activity of what's happening. So, if you have let's say for instance, you have a $10 product like it's showing here, and your currency is US dollars, it will track that. But let's say you have another, and this, keep in mind that this specific section of code, it only deals with a product that's $10. So what if you have 5 or 10 or 15 different products on one page that in an e-com play? You may want to have 5 to 10 to 15 different sections of code right here that track the lead with each value that you've connected to that lead. Meaning you might have a $5 product, so you want to put this same code that has that $5 section there, and then you also have a $10 product, so you want to do the $10 section, and then you have a 15 or 20 or 30. You want to make sure that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, but you want to make sure that you put each one of those codes inside the Facebook pixel so that it tracks the right type of activity that's triggered inside of your Facebook pixel.
Yeah, you want to make sure it is tracking that activity, and you can place that value, like Ryan said. You can decide how much a lead is worth. But then what that does is it allows you to say right in Facebook, and it'll show you I spent $100, but I got 20 leads that were worth $10 each, so I made $200. And so that tells you, oh, I should spend more money so I can make 2 times return on ad spend.
Jerome, great question. Jerome says, is there one report that summarizes pixel activity? Yeah, inside of Facebook, you can actually go in and create custom reports, and you can input the things that you feel would be value-based into a reporting mechanism. So some of it might be, some of it might be pixel like leads generated or purchases or add payment information or initiate checkout. You can add each segment of that if you have those pixels installed on your website. then you can actually put those metrics, you can pull those metrics up from a reporting perspective, and it typically kicks out an Excel spreadsheet that has all of that data for you. So great question there.
And then there's also the analytics tab that you mentioned earlier, Ryan, that we're going to be talking about next week.
Yep.
Pixel analytics tab.
Now, Mitch, there's been questions that I've had, like if you go into the advanced section instead of the recommended, up at the very top, there's been a lot of questions that people ask quite frequently of how detailed can this be? How detailed can these custom event codes be? And the reality is they can be extremely detailed. So you have these standard event codes, but then even at the very bottom of this, there's a custom event code. Go click on that. I mean, there are some situations where you can install a Facebook pixel on a button that's clicked so that you can track real-time activity of what's happening on those landing pages. And we haven't got that deep with our own businesses yet, but we're learning. And we've actually been searching for like an advanced pixel course to take for ourselves so that we can get really, really defined. But there's not a lot of information on this, on the really deep dive into Facebook pixels. So we're learning, and we'll keep you up to speed as we go on more depth that happens or that we learn from these pixels.
Yeah, I was just going to add on this basic, recommended, or advanced. You can see on the purchase pixel it changes. So on basic, then it's just going to track a purchase. It's not going to tie a value to it. And for a small business, then maybe this is all you want to track. You just want to know, okay, I got a purchase. Recommended, then they say, then put in a value. This is only going to work if you only have a one value product. If your product is worth $247.35, and you can change that number to whatever you want. If that's the purchase value every single time, then that's what you'll use. And then advanced, then you can add in multiple products. So you can add in all the content IDs and do different stuff. And that is more advanced, as Ryan said. And so at a minimum, I would say start with the recommended.
That's going to be something where you have a specific product line. Inside of assets in Facebook, you can actually put your website in, and it can pull all the assets from your website and give those different product ID numbers. And then you can correlate the pricing with the product ID. So it takes some pretty in-depth analysis on. So go back into that advanced, Mitch. So you can see here, it'll have the product IDs, the content IDs, and those IDs typically come from different products that are associated in your product catalog, which is an asset in a Facebook account. So Mitch, if you'll just go, let's show them really quick how to do that. So if you close this window out, you'll see on the far right-hand side where it says product catalog. You can update or create a product catalog, which becomes an asset to you when you're running Facebook ads. And again, we haven't done this very much because we haven't dealt with a lot of companies that have different types of or multiple products across platforms. But if you go in and just hit that, Mitch, create a catalog. My understanding is you can actually just upload a catalog directly from a you can, let's just say I have a test product. You can pull it directly from a website. You can put the URL and it'll go find that. So if you click on add a product feed there, you can download that directly from a website. So you can do reoccurring uploads. You can do a single upload. That means if you're updating your pricing at all on your website, it will actually update it, it'll do it recurring uploads. So it's not real time, but it'll do uploads off and on here. So kind of interesting there. Let's go back.
Help, there's this little need help, learn more about product feeds.
Yep. Facebook has some amazing help sections. Their customer support isn't the greatest, but a lot of the FAQ stuff that they have is really, really, really good. Now, Mitch, let's just go one more quick thing that I think we have 1 minute here. And I think people might be asking the question is, okay, if I have these custom event codes, how do I place the custom event code inside the actual pixel so that it triggers the right way? Because you have to, that's not just something you take and you copy the standard code and you place it on a page. It's actually, you have to embed that inside of the code itself.
Yeah, so you take
I
So you just
typically use just a. What I'll typically do is just pull up a Word document, and then I'll
yeah.
copy and paste this section of the code in a Word document. And then you go and you add the rest of that code inside of that Word document, and then copy the whole thing and place it on a website. Is that what you do, Mitch?
Yeah,
Or no?
yeah. So you can copy this to something, yeah, like a Word document or text edit, or you can download. There's code editor apps. I mean, you can just look for it on your whatever type of computer you have, and then you'll notice where it says FBQ track page view right there. Then right under that is where you're going to place it. So if you want to add in this, because you still want to track the page view, you always want to track the page view, but then you want to add on this page constitutes a lead. So it's probably going to be on your thank you page, for instance. And you'll just take this little section and put it right in there. And it won't let me go back. Put it right in there under where it says FBQ track page view.
Well, and you have to delete some of the because it'll add another script code in there, but you have to delete some of the script code as well, right?
I don't think you have to. I think it's either way.
Oh,
but just those script tags. If anything, then it's just those script tags.
Yeah.
You don't have two of them.
I've had it before where I had to, and then there's other times where I didn't. So. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, that's just kind of an overview. That's actually pretty an in-depth overview of the Facebook pixels. Super powerful. If you have any questions, shoot us a quick message on Facebook or give us a call. We're happy to help you install that pixel or show you in more detail how to install that pixel. And what we're going to talk about next week, and we talked a little bit about remarketing, retargeting, but we'll dive in a little bit more about our strategy on remarketing and retargeting. And then we'll even get in more detail of analytics and how do we use analytics inside of Facebook to put together an ad campaign and a remarketing ad campaign to further develop and strengthen your positioning as a business. Well, thanks, guys. Glad that you're on with us, and we'll be back again with you soon. Next week, next Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. As a matter of fact, we've actually thought about even discuss changing the time on this. So, but for now, we'll be here at 10. Bye for now.